All right, so after spending probably 20 plus hours over the weekend and the past couple of weeknights, I've come to the conclusion that I have a flawed design in my attempt to build a makeshift Sphero. I'll show you some of the thought process I went through to arrive at this conclusion, and briefly touch upon how I plan to overcome it. So, here I'll show you this is the current iteration of the robot. Um, so what was happening is the robot would either have poor traction inside of the ball, or it would have really good traction and would essentially just spin itself inside of it, kind of like if you've been to the circus, the guys on the dirt bikes that can go around the cage. So a few things I tried. The first thing I tried was to change the wheels. So I originally tried to add some more grip, basically adding studs to the wheels, just hot glued these little pieces of rubber onto it. That worked decently well, but it still didn't get great traction. So I came to the conclusion that it was because of just surface area. So then I tried a rubber ball instead. So replaced the wheel with rubber ball. That should give me some good traction, but it was working too well and it was basically just stalling out the motors. So I pulled those off, eventually just arriving at weather stripping. So if I put weather stripping around the wheels, I get decent traction and decent surface area, and the robot can move. So that was a big problem. And I think it's a bit unique to my robot in that the end effectors, being the wheels on this one, are what actually move this ball. So the end effectors in the robot, in a sense, are actuators for the ball, which is an end effector itself. So I'm actually working against two environments: the environment inside the ball and the environment outside the ball. Everything works fine as far as the circuit is concerned. The 9-volt batteries seem to work well. They do drain somewhat quickly. The one attached to the motors, especially, and mostly where I'm testing it, I'm stalling out quite a bit. So that was a concern. The next issue I came to realize was around weight. Um, Through trial and error, I've discovered that this thing is way too top heavy. So my original attempt was I added a few magnets to the wheels, and this actually helped quite a bit. The ball was able to roll, but it still wasn't stable enough, and it would still roll back on itself. I tried different weight distributions, but no matter what, the wheels had to be weighted exactly the same for this to work. Um, so then I tried heavier weight. So I cut this piece of steel into four. This is what one of the pieces looks like, and I just added it onto the robot. First, I added it to the top, and this is what really tipped me off. Was by adding it to the top, the thing became so top heavy that it would literally just spin around no matter what. Then I tried to use some wooden dowels to basically attach it to underneath and have it just hover there, but this didn't work out overly well either. Um, so from there, I thought maybe the ball itself is the issue. So I added some basically tracks to the ball, which would keep it from wobbling and tipping too much. And this did work, and it had promise. I could definitely use something other than the weather stripping, but the big issue was I really couldn't turn the robot anymore. I don't know if it was just too much grip that was happening, or if there wasn't enough room in the ball. So then I tried. You'll see I've cut some holes into the side of this. So I tried running just a dowel basically through the ball and connecting it to the sides of the robot. So you'd basically have this shaft running through the robot and through the ball. So wherever the robot went, the ball would go and turn. And it worked all right, but same thing. It just was not getting the result that I wanted. So at the end of the day, um, writers have a popular term for this called "kill your darlings." I thought I had a good design, and I really thought that the gearbox was a good design, but it come to find out that what I have is this extremely top heavy robot, and the only way to fix that is to add more weights underneath, and that's extremely problematic because I don't have a lot of room to work with, and it also means that the robot is pulling an unnecessary amount of weight around. So I do have a different conceptual design, and I'm gonna try it. I do know, like, I could put the robot horizontal, kind of like you would, because these are RC motors, and run that horizontally inside of the ball. I've watched videos of guys doing that and gals doing that, and it just doesn't work very well. The ball basically just wobbles, or like a weeble wobble back and forth. It just does not have the stability that I'm really looking for. Um, I mean, I'm happy with the design. It turned out to be a decent robot. It can run pretty well on the ground. It can pivot and turn. The H bridge works. The Arduino works really well. So you know, as a robot in of itself, it works fine, but it's not getting me the results I want. So I'm going to try something else. And if that fails, then I'll probably just ditch the ball and come up with you know, just a normal robot. Put some sensors on it and do some controls. But hopefully my next design will work better. I did get a new hamster ball. I think that I can use that and hopefully have better luck than I have up to now. But a little disappointing, extremely frustrating, just with so many hours put into something that's just not working for me. You know, had it worked, I'd basically be done the project by now. Instead, I'm in a lot of ways starting over and racking my brains over new designs and stuff. So either way, I guess I'm stubborn, but I'd like to see it through. And if not, then at least I know and understand that you know, engineering is maybe not my strong suit, but at the very least, I can sum up my experience so far to being decision fatigue. Like, it takes so much thought and so much energy to think about the design of these things, everything from the circuitry to the weights to the, you know, the overall look and feel and everything, you know, and trying to keep the costs down since it is just a hobby project. So next video I'll post up my conceptual design and see if I can get that to work.